COPWATCH, policing the police every single day.
Today she got involved.
Veteran evicted from his childhood home. Ever since we first told you about Billy Magruder, so many of you have asked how you can help. Well, today, help arrived, and so did a big surprise from the home's new owner. Bradley Blackburn reports from Fort Worth.
Let's roll it.
Loaded carefully into a storage unit, these are the possessions of Billy Magruder.
He shouldn't be in this predicament right now. Somebody should have had their eye on him.
Possessions that last week were piled on his front yard when he was evicted from his house.
It's mind-boggling.
We first told you his story Friday night. Nearly 80 years old, he's a veteran who friends say is struggling with dementia.
If y'all wasn't here to try to help me, I don't know what I'd do.
His house was seized and auctioned off because he owed thousands in back taxes.
When you have someone that's elderly and maybe suffering from dementia, to have an advocate.
It's frustrating, it's aggravating, it's sad.
State Senator Connie Burton was watching too, and today she got involved, working with tax assessor collector Ron Wright to determine what happened.
Ron and I are already talking about how we can prevent this from happening in the future. So we're looking at legislation right now, talking about it.
They say Mr. Magruder never filed for an over 65 exemption. If he had, his taxes would have been deferred and he never would have been evicted. And there is good news. They say the man who bought the house at auction has decided to back out.
He will back out of the sale, and so now the home can go back to Mr. Magruder.
So Mr. Magruder may be able to go home, and his unfortunate experience may help others.
No, this is a big problem, especially with our older veterans, because a lot of guys, they just don't know.
So again, once all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed, the state senator and tax assessors say the home will be returned to Billy Magruder. The family called that news amazing, but they say the home is in disrepair and needs major maintenance. So in the meantime, Billy Magruder is staying with his extended family. In Tarrant County, Bradley Blackburn, Channel 8 News.
"79-year-old vet with dementia evicted by government from home he owned over unpaid property taxes." An elderly veteran who has owned his home since the 1930s was evicted and thrown out on the street by government because he couldn't afford his property taxes. By J. Sermopoulos, June 28, 2018. Fort Worth, Texas, a 79-year-old veteran suffering from dementia was evicted from his longtime family home on Friday, and his belongings scattered across the front yard, after failing to pay a $6,000 property tax bill. "All this is furniture from my living room," Billy Magruder, who lived in the house for decades, told a crew from CBS DFW. "It's out there for everybody to see." Only 2 weeks prior to his 80th birthday, Magruder got a knock on the door informing him that it was time to vacate the home he inherited from his parents who bought the house in the 1930s. "They come to evict me for back taxes," said Magruder. Tarrant County records reveal that authorities seized his home over nearly $6,000 in unpaid taxes and auctioned the property off to a real estate company for $38,000. While Tarrant County Precinct 8 Constable Michael Campbell told WFAA that the eviction followed standard protocol, with the property being sold on January 2, 2017, to a new owner, Magruder said he didn't know what was happening to his home in recent months, understand the letters about overdue taxes or realize that his home was being put up for auction. He had an opportunity to file a legal challenge to the writ, said Constable Campbell. But according to family and friends, Magruder suffers from dementia and likely did not understand what was taking place. For example, when interviewing Magruder, a WFAA reporter asked his age. He said he was 68 years old. He is actually 79. "He understands but he doesn't understand," explained neighbor Anthony Drake Jr., who said he has known Magruder his entire life, and explained that the 79-year-old vet was like a grandfather to him. "Thankfully, the community has come together to correct this manifest injustice. As long as he doesn't have a home, he has one here," said Drake. When the new homeowner was tracked down by local media, he was surprised to hear about the systemic failures that allowed an elderly vet with dementia to be evicted from his family home. The new owner, Yamal Mulad, told CBS 2 that he knew nothing about the former owner when he purchased the property at auction. "If I knew this was going to happen or the old man is in the house, I would never have bought the house," he said. "If they want the house back, they can have it. I wish they could come up with the money and they can buy the house back from me." Meanwhile, as the drama was upending Magruder's life, local residents took it upon themselves, in coordination with his family, to start a GoFundMe for him, and they have raised nearly $12,000 as of Thursday. Subsequently, Tarrant County Tax Assessor Collector and State Senator Kenny Burton said on Monday that Mulad had agreed to reverse the sale of the home. "He will back out of the sale, and so now, the home can go back to Mr. Magruder," Burton said. Magruder's ordeal highlights the extreme shortcomings of our current system, as no one should have to go through the process of having their life completely upended, with a lifetime of memories strewn across the lawn. Tarrant County Tax Assessor Collector Ron Wright said Magruder could have filed an over 65 exemption before the auction, which would have indefinitely deferred his taxes, thus negating being taken to court or evicted. Of course, an elderly man with dementia living on his own cannot be expected to legitimately be aware of such processes. "It's frustrating, it's aggravating, it's sad," Burton said about the situation. Burton said her and Wright are discussing potential legislative solutions to help prevent situations like this in the future. "Ron and I are already talking about how we can prevent this from happening in the future, so we're looking at legislation right now, talking about it," she said. It seems clear that this man needed some assistance in navigating the tax bureaucracy, as someone without dementia can easily get lost attempting to navigate the never-ending maze of tax hell. The idea of forcing an elderly veteran with dementia onto the streets and confiscating a property that has been owned by his family for nearly 80 years, simply because he didn't pay the government forced taxation on the value of the land he already owns, is clearly tyrannical in nature. Thankfully, neighbors and community came together to help find a resolution for Magruder. On Monday, Dallas-based veterans are moving us packed up what was left on the yard and transported it to a storage unit that's being paid for by an organization called Feed a Million Veterans. "He shouldn't be in this predicament right now," said Verna Owens with Veterans Are Moving Us. "Somebody should have had their eye on him." While the home is in need of extensive repairs, and Magruder's health issues have forced him to stay with extended family, his family called the news of getting the home back amazing. Police use who may want to retaliate against him physically.
Hey Charlotte County, this is Charlotte County COPWATCH, and I just wanted you to know that I am using this stuff under fair use. And also remember to like and subscribe this channel. Also too, keep in mind I do not make any money on YouTube. This is 5 hours work a day, you know, fighting for freedom. And you can donate with PayPal and Patreon. I just want you to think about this. If everybody gives to PayPal and Patreon, Patreon is every month. Actually, PayPal you can do every month. I have 12,000 subscribers. If everybody gives, I can quit my regular job and go full-time investigations on Charlotte County and possibly even more and beyond. So just keep that in mind. If everybody helps out, I can go full-time doing this. Thanks.